botany sir, teaching botany at 10+2 level, and my channel is Let's Crack Competitive Exams with Fareeq Khurshid. If you will like the video after seeing it, please share it with your friends so that they will also benefit from it. Now we are going to discuss an important topic of this plant anatomy. I have already shared a video on it. Again, we are discussing the after that topic. I am discussing another topic related to that topic, that is plant tissues and the meristematic tissue. My main focus will be on the meristematic tissue, but before discussing that, I am again repeating what the plant tissues are and what are their different types. Plant tissue, you know that a group of cells having common origin and performing particular kind of function is known as a tissue. And in plants, you will see that there are two main types of tissues. Number one is meristematic tissue, and number second is permanent tissue. This meristematic tissue is that tissue where plants retain the power of cell division, as I have already discussed it in the previous video. A meristematic tissue is that tissue which retains the power of cell division, and a permanent tissue is that tissue where cells have lost the power of cell division. You will see that meristematic tissue contains the cells where cells have no differentiation at all, where as a permanent tissue contains the cells where cells have cellular differentiation occurred in them. This permanent tissue, you will see that is further of two main types depending upon whether it is made of only one kind of cells or more than one kind of cells. Here you will see that a simple permanent tissue is that permanent tissue where a permanent tissue is made up of only one kind of cells. And here you will see that there are three main types of simple permanent tissues. Number one is parenchyma, number two is collenchyma, and number three is sclerenchyma. A parenchyma is a simple permanent tissue and made up of only one kind of cells known as parenchyma cells, and it is living. Please remember it is living permanent tissue, it is living simple permanent tissue. Collenchyma is also made up of simple permanent cells and it is also a living permanent tissue. And sclerenchyma, you are please remember this. Sclerenchyma is a dead simple permanent tissue. Here you will see that cells are dead. Cells do not have protoplasm, cells do not have cytoplasm, cells do not have cellular organelles. This sclerenchyma, depending upon the shape and nature of cells, is further of two types, fibers and sclerids. Here this is the complex permanent tissue. You will see that this complex permanent tissue is made up of more than one kind of cells. You know that. You may have read in the earlier classes that it contains xylem and it contains phloem. Xylem contains 4 types of cells. Phloem contains 4 types of cells in angiosperms. Please remember it. Complex permanent tissue is that permanent tissue where a tissue is made up of more than one kind of cells. Here you will see it is xylem. Here you will see it is phloem. Both xylem and phloem is made up of more than one kind of cells. This parenchyma, only one kind of cell. This collenchyma, only one kind of cell. This sclerenchyma, only one kind of cell. That is why it is known as simple permanent tissue. A permanent tissue is that tissue where cells have lost the power of cell division. This permanent tissue made up of is further of two types depending upon the types of cells present in a particular permanent tissue: simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Now we are going to discuss the main topic of this video, that is meristematic tissue. What a meristematic tissue is. This meristem is a Greek word known as meristos. What does it mean? Meristos, it means a divisible. It is the main characteristic of meristematic tissue. A meristematic tissue, the meristem, it is a term which has been derived from a Greek word that is known as meristos, and that in meaning it means a divisible. It is the main characteristic of this meristematic tissue that the meristematic tissue retains the power of cell division, where cells retains the power of cell division, where cells retain the power of cell division. What does that mean? That means that cells divide and redivide. They have only one function in nature, that is to produce new cells by mitosis, by cell division. A meristematic tissue, that tissue where cells retain the power of cell division. They have only one function in nature, that is to divide and to produce new cells which are added to their plant bodies. This meristematic tissue contains the cells which are known as meristematic cells, and the characteristics of meristematic cells are of following. Number one, I am going to discuss the characteristics of meristematic cells. Number one, the cells are smaller. The cells are smaller. Cells are smaller and thin-walled. Cells are smaller and thin-walled. The cells usually lack cell vacuoles. The cell vacuole is an important characteristic of plant cells. You will see that in a parenchyma cell, in a collenchyma cell, most of the cell inside cell is occupied by a cell vacuole. 90% of the cell volume is occupied by cell vacuole. But those cell vacuoles are usually absent, mainly absent in case of meristematic cells. The cells are oval, spherical, or polygonal in shape. Polygonal in shape. We are discussing the characteristics of meristematic cells. The cells are thin-walled. The cells are smaller. The cells usually lack the cell vacuole. The important characteristic of plant cells, that is, they contain cell vacuoles, but those cell vacuoles are absent in the meristematic cells. The cells are oval in shape, spherical in shape, or polygonal in shape. Another important characteristic of these meristematic cells are that the cells have denser cytoplasm. What the denser cytoplasm means, I will make a diagram here. You will see that if you will see a parenchyma cell under the microscope, you will see that is highlighted, that will be transparent under the microscope. If you will observe a parenchyma cell under the microscope, the cytoplasm of that cell will be like that. But if you see a meristematic cell under the microscope, you will see that the cytoplasm is denser inside the meristematic cell. Why it is denser? Because it is rich in contents. It contains large number of contents in the form of ribosomes. It is very rich in ribosomes, as these cells are actively involved in the biosynthesis of materials, as they have to divide. They have to divide, redivide, for which they have to synthesize large number of molecules. These cells are rich in ribosomes, which are the sites of protein synthesis. They also contain mitochondria in large quantities of mitochondria, but the mitochondria are simple in structure. They also contain large contents of endoplasmic reticulum, but those are also very simple in structure. The plastids are absent. Please remember it. Plastids are absent. Instead, proplasts are present, where from plastids become or then formed. Plastids are absent. Instead of plastids, proplastids are present. The meristematic cells have another important characteristic, that is, they have a prominent nucleus. Prominent nucleus which occupies the center of the meristematic cell. Otherwise, you will see that in the parenchyma cells, collenchyma cells, or other plant cells other than the meristematic cells, the nucleus is peripheral in their nature, as the center is occupied by the plant cell vacuole. Here, cell vacuole is absent, as I already mentioned that cell vacuole is absent and the nucleus is present in the center. Another important feature of these meristematic cells is that they show high rate of respiration. They show high rate of respiration. Why they are showing high rate of respiration? Because they are actively involved in the biosynthesis. They are actively involved in the biosynthesis, of materials, as they have to divide, for which they are preparing by the synthesis of large number of materials. That is why they are showing high rate of respiration. Another important feature of these meristematic cells is that these cells are undifferentiated in nature. What does undifferentiation mean? Is that they do not have specialization in their structure and in their functions. This specialization of structure and function, it is known as a differentiation, but this differentiation is totally absent in meristematic cells. That is, these cells are undifferentiated in nature. If you will see a parenchyma cell, the parenchyma cell will be differentiated. That means that they have got specialization in their structure and in their function, for their particular function they play in the plants. But these meristematic cells have only one function, that is to divide to produce cells for the plants or plant growth. That is why these cells are undifferentiated in nature. Hope you will have understood this lecture. Please share this video if you have understood it for the benefit of other students. Thank you for watching this video.